So if you watched my last video, you'll know that I'm on the quest of building a portfolio by making demo ads for specific brands. So this time I planned a hike with my friend David and thought that it might be a great opportunity to make an ad for hiking equipments, so I chose his hiking poles as my products. And that was a complete train wreck. Now instead of going through how we made that video like last time, I'm going to talk about 3 reasons why I think this video absolutely sucked. Now first of all, the trail that we went on was the Park Sinland Country Park, so that's like 591 meters of elevation for the hike alone. And aside from that, we actually visited the Bride's Pool waterfall first, so that's like an additional half an hour or an hour of walking. Point is, a fully rational person would try to bring as little stuff as possible to go on this journey, but somehow genius me thought of bringing my fully rigged camera with a Ronin S, 3 very heavy lenses and a bunch of accessories to go on this run and gun shoot. So by the end of the day, I was holding my camera on a Ronin S and just walking up and down the hill until I couldn't anymore, and David offered to carry basically everything for me. He was a total champ during this shoot. I would have literally died if it wasn't for him. So thank you very much. Anyways, the problem here is I didn't research the path and really think through what I truly needed for this shoot and the feasibility of carrying all that stuff. I thought I needed to be bringing the best gear, but all it did was just slow me down and just made me very frustrated. I fell victim to my own obsession and realized that my best tool is probably not gonna be the best tool all the time, so compromising and contemplating would have really made my life a lot easier. So for the Nike shoot back in October, I was very intentional with probably everything. I knew I had 5 locations to shoot, so I made a rundown specifically setting a limit on how long I would spend in each location and just what kind of shots I would need to be getting 2 weeks before I even went on set. As for this one, I completely winged it. Now, I did have a very vague story in mind. It started with like David picking up his stuff and just rushing for sunset, and then we go into this like moody, fast-paced, adventurous journey through the forest until he sees the ridge and be like, oh no, then he needs help. Then tone will change into like uplifting and heartwarming montage of him using the sticks to get to the summit and marvel at the sunset. Yeah. It sounded like a solid idea, but I didn't really plan it out like using a storyboard or even a shot list. I didn't research the product selling point and build a narrative around it, and I didn't even bother to visualize like what kind of product shots I want to get, even though it's like crucial to the video. So even when David did a fantastic job in location scouting for me, I was underprepared, so I just thought of very generic shots and somehow just wasted that really cool location. And the worst part is I was very spontaneous throughout the trip. That means we spent a lot of time in places that we don't need to be and we didn't plan to be. So by the time we head on to the main trail, it was already like 3 p.m.-ish and we were genuinely rushing already. In the end, we failed to make it to the summit by golden hour and we have to settle for blue hour, and we just have minimal footage of the product, which should have been the key. And yeah, so everything just went to shit. And yeah, I was about to say like significantly decrease the production value, but I just went with everything went to shit, and I think that turned out well. Yeah. And all these happened because I didn't make a solid plan of action. And I read it somewhere like filmmaking is 100% pre-production, and I couldn't agree with it more now. Even if I have made something as simple as a shot list, it would have gave me a lot more mental clarity and just direction into what I'm gonna do on set, instead of now just randomly shooting a bunch of stuff. So I definitely learned it in the hard way for that one. Now, the night before the shoot, I was at a birthday party of one of my closest friends. I promised myself that I'm gonna leave early just for me to get enough rest, but in the end, I left at about like 2 a.m. and got home by 4, just to wake up the next morning with a splitting headache. Like I mentioned, it was a very physically demanding day, so I was having a very hard time just focusing, keeping up with David, and just committing fully into shooting the video. The worst part of all these is that it could have been avoided, and that fact alone reflects how I didn't treat this as seriously as I should have been. Now, if I were to be completely honest with myself, I feel like I just wasted David's time in my own time. It doesn't take away from the fact that it was fun hanging out and shooting this video, but just the end result wasn't what we wanted, and the blame's on me. To sum this all up, wholehearted results cannot be expected from half-hearted efforts. And for me to progress as I want to, I really need to roll up my sleeves and put in the effort for each and every one of my future projects. Now, in my defense, I did try to make it up in post-production. Like, I recently finished a course on color grading, and I feel like I was really getting my shit together. I just have to revisit the course a few times. As for sound design, as always, it was really fun, and it will forever be something that will bring a lot of joy to me. Now, I'm not gonna replay that terrible ad, but I did cut together a quick little montage that I think is quite cool, so enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Thank you and bye.